The observation deck of Station Kepler 442 hummed with its usual efficiency as Ilara Chan reviewed the quarterly resource reports. Outside the panoramic windows, the gas giant they orbited painted swirls of amber and violet across the viewport, a sight she'd grown fond of during her 2-year assignment. The station housed 17 species in peaceful coexistence, a testament to the Galactic Council's vision of unity through cooperation. Ilara? The voice belonged to Nico, a young Valorian who barely reached her waist. The cubs, as humans affectionately called them, resembled terrestrial otters with their sleek fur and intelligent eyes, though their 6-fingered hands and digitigrade legs marked them as distinctly alien. Nico clutched a datapad to his chest, his whiskers twitching with barely contained curiosity. "What can I do for you, Nico?" Ilara smiled, setting aside her work. The young Valorian had shadowed her for months, his questions about human culture growing increasingly sophisticated. "I was reviewing the human cultural database," Nico began, his translator rendering his chittering speech into flawless standard. "There is a recurring celebration called Christmas. The station logs show humans requesting time off for it, yet ... double quotes." He paused, his large eyes blinking with confusion. "The explanation makes no logical sense." Ilara laughed softly. "Which part?" "All of it." Nico's tail swished in agitation. "You celebrate the birth of a religious figure by decorating an agriculturally inefficient tree species, exchanging resource-intensive wrapped items, and consuming excessive quantities of specific foods. The Valorian Council would classify such behavior as economically irrational." "Maybe," Ilara agreed, gesturing for him to sit. "But Christmas isn't about efficiency. It's about something humans need that doesn't show up in resource allocation reports." Nico's ears perked forward. What do humans need that we provide insufficiently? The question struck deeper than the young Valorian realized. Ilara thought of the sterile corridors, the optimized schedules, the perfectly balanced atmosphere that somehow felt empty. "Connection," she said finally. "Not the professional kind we have at shift changes, real connection. Christmas gives us an excuse to stop optimizing and just ... be together." "But you are together," Nico protested. "The station provides communal spaces, recreational facilities, and that's not the same." Ilara struggled to articulate what every human knew instinctively. Christmas is deliberately inefficient because the inefficiency is the point. We waste time wrapping presents because the wrapping shows we cared enough to make something look special. We decorate trees that serve no function because beauty doesn't need justification. We cook too much food because abundance, shared freely, feels like love. Nico's translator crackled slightly as it processed what must have seemed like philosophical contradiction. "Your species prioritizes emotional resonance over practical optimization?" "Sometimes survival isn't about being practical," Ilara said quietly. "It's about remembering why you're surviving at all." The young Valorian sat silent for a long moment, his claws tapping against the datapad. Then he stood abruptly, his posture radiating determination. "I need to submit a formal request to Station Command." 3 weeks later, Ilara received a cryptic message to report to Cargo Bay 7. She arrived to find the space transformed. Strings of bioluminescent algae had been carefully cultivated to pulse in patterns resembling Christmas lights. A fabricated tree, its proportions slightly off, its branches too symmetrical, stood in the center, decorated with offerings from a dozen species: krill meditation crystals, Therian prayer scarves, even a small Denebian shield hung like an ornament. Nico stood beside it, flanked by a delegation of young cubs and representatives from every species on the station. His fur was groomed to unusual neatness, and he wore what Ilara recognized as formal Valorian diplomatic attire. "We studied your Christmas," Nico announced, his voice carrying the careful cadence of a prepared speech. "We analyzed the gift-giving patterns, the decorative elements, the communal meal structures. We concluded that we did not understand it at all." Several species in the crowd chittered or hummed agreement. "So we decided to experience it instead." Ilara felt her throat tighten as she surveyed the scene. The decorations were wrong in all the technical ways, colors that clashed by human standards. Arrangements that defied traditional aesthetics but somehow absolutely right in their sincere effort. "We may have made errors," Nico continued, gesturing to the tree. "The Therian delegation informed us that humans do not typically display weapons as decorations. But the Denebians insisted that their ceremonial shields represent protection and unity, which seemed thematically appropriate. We have also prepared what our research indicates is a feast, though we apologize if the ratio of desserts to main courses is inverted. Nico ... double quotes, Ilara's voice wavered. Why? The young Valorian's ears drooped slightly, a sign of vulnerability. Because you were right. Efficiency does not equal contentment. The station's psychological reports show elevated stress markers across all human personnel. We thought providing optimal working conditions would be sufficient. But humans require something we do not quantify. Intentional joy. He stepped forward, pressing a small wrapped package into her hands. The wrapping paper was actually a Valorian star chart, carefully folded around something small and angular. We may not fully comprehend Christmas, Nico said softly. But we comprehend that it matters to you. And you matter to us. Ilara unwrapped the gift with trembling fingers. Inside was a small crystal dataquari, its surface etched with thousands of microscopic signatures. It's a message compilation, Nico explained. Every being on this station contributed a memory of something you did that made their assignment here better. The Therian miners, the Krill engineers, even the Denebian security officers. You taught us that efficiency without compassion is just mathematics. As Ilara looked around the cargo bay at species who had studied human traditions not to mock them but to honor them, who had allocated resources and time to create joy for beings who were far from home, she understood something profound. Humanity's greatest export wasn't technology or military might. It was the stubborn, illogical insistence that kindness mattered more than optimization. Thank you, she whispered, pulling the surprised Valorian into a hug. This is the most beautiful Christmas I've ever had. Nico's translator couldn't quite capture his pleased chittering, but it didn't need to. Some things translated perfectly across species lines. As the improvised celebration unfolded, with Krill attempting to sing carols in harmonic frequencies that shattered 2 water glasses, Therians discovering they loved gingerbread, and Denebians learning that their traditional war dances were alarmingly similar to human party games, Ilara realized that humanity's legacy among the stars wouldn't be monuments or conquest. It would be this: teaching the galaxy that sometimes the most revolutionary act is choosing connection over efficiency, joy over optimization, and love over logic. And that was very human indeed.